I don't think my wife likes me very much anymore. Like, you know, she never seems to want to hold.
Have I been thinking about this video? I saw this yesterday on TikTok and it absolutely broke my heart in real time. In fact, I commented on this man's video because I wanted him to understand from a wife's perspective what is happening here. He talks in this video about how his wife no longer likes him, how his wife no longer seems to want to touch him, how he does more and more for her. He keeps trying. He keeps trying to help around the house and do things for her that he thinks will make her love him more. And it just seems to make her more mad and more critical. And you could just really feel the genuineness in this man's video. You could see his heartbreak. You could see that he was just at an impasse and did not know how to make her happy. And I wanted him to understand what happens from a wife's perspective. I was married for 22 years and I got married very young, and I got married based on the requirements and the checklist that my religion had given me. But I will say that even given that very limited scope in which to find somebody, I made a really good choice. My ex-husband is a stand-up man. He is a good person. He is kind. He's a wonderful father. It doesn't mean we didn't have a rocky several years during that 20 years. I think anybody who's married for a long period of time goes through a rocky period if they are truly emotionally attuned with one another. Many marriages will be two people just getting by, not really having an emotional connection, not being seen and understood fully by their partner, just having kids and going through the motions. But if you really truly have a connected relationship, then you know that you have years even where you are disconnected, years where one of you is growing so exponentially that it's hard to feel understood by the other partner, because the odds of two partners growing at the same time, it doesn't happen very often. And this is where I want to go with this. What I told this man is, it sounds like your wife is feeling like she has outgrown the relationship. And that's exactly what happened in my marriage. After 22 years of marriage, we had gone through so much counseling. We had really gotten to the point where we understood one another and we could be completely honest. And I was explaining to him that I was going through an awakening. I went through an awakening towards the end of my marriage where I realized as a woman, there was more to my life than what I was in. I had everything. I had the kids. I had the house with a literal white picket fence. My husband was doing amazing in his career and I could stay home, and I was doing some side hustles. I was in real estate. I was doing some things for myself, and I had everything that should have brought me satisfaction. And yet I still felt this gnawing internal nagging that what I was in was not what I was meant to do. And it was as if my soul was crawling out of my body on a daily basis. As I started to get more and more into this feeling, and as I started to acknowledge it more and not ignore it, it got stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where I couldn't sit in my skin anymore. I couldn't be in the marriage. I couldn't sleep next to him, even though I love him still to this day. He's the father of my children. He's a wonderful man. But I couldn't lay next to him anymore because my instincts, my inner voice, were telling me, you have outgrown this relationship. You can't grow anymore in this relationship. And because of the confines that the relationship was placing on me, not even that he was controlling or that the relationship was in any way controlling, because it wasn't. He was committed to my freedom. He was committed to me finding myself. He helped me. He poured himself into me finding myself. He wanted me to find myself. But I couldn't do it within marriage. Marriage as an institution was keeping me stuck in these roles, pigeonholed in these roles that just were not what I was supposed to be doing. And I love my children and I loved my family. I still do love my family. I loved my family unit that marriage gave me. It was so safe. It was so comforting and safe. And there are times where I really, really miss it. But I just knew that I couldn't live one more day in that environment. I had outgrown that environment. And as much as I tried to ignore it and shop it away and travel it away, it was a deep gnawing voice within that I was supposed to do something else. And so many people here are going to judge me because that's so scary. That's so scary because in our culture, we're taught that family is everything and that women especially should sacrifice their entire lives to the family unit. And if women don't sacrifice their entire lives to the family unit, our society crumbles in many people's viewpoint. But I disagree. I think that when women find themselves, our society finds itself. And women need to have the freedom to say, this institution of marriage or this specific marriage doesn't foster growth anymore in me. And it is okay for me to go after what does while still loving my family fiercely. But I deserve to take up space, and I deserve to also follow my dreams and go after what it is that feels comfortable in my body. And so many women are in marriages where they are ignoring that inner voice. They are ignoring it, and they are trying to stay within the confines of what they have been told to expect and want for their life. And it sounds like this gentleman's wife is doing that. And in doing that, it hurts everybody. When a woman ignores her intuition and inner voice and tries to just stay sweet and stay small for the benefit of the family, for the benefit of her husband, she's not a happy person. And everybody feels it in the family. The husband feels it. The kids feel it. She is disgruntled. She is ignoring her inner voice and her higher path. And so we need to normalize women saying, this container of a relationship, of marriage, does not work for me anymore. And we need to construct a new way of being that honors my autonomy and that honors my instinct and my inner voice. So I'll end by saying this. My ex-husband and I live up the street from each other. We are extremely cordial. We do family things together with the kids. We spend birthdays with the kids together. When it's Father's Day, I get him something from me and from the kids because he is the father of my children. And I will always speak highly of him because he is a stand-up, stalwart man. And we have gotten to the point where now we are both living our autonomous lives, but we will always be a family, meaning we have children together and we care about each other and we've gone through a lot together. And so we honor that with respect for each other. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. We've had moments where emotions are high, where we've had disagreements, where our egos have been hurt, where we have felt immense fear and acted from that fear. Absolutely. But we always come back to the touchstone of respect for one another, respect for each other's individual path, and letting each other live the lives that we individually were meant and are meant to live while reconstructing what it means to be a family. And we have to be okay with that. I understand that it's heartache and it's pain and that we have to let old things go. We don't feel as safe. Oftentimes we'll feel more vulnerable because we don't have that foundation of the family at home that we used to have. But it's not a safe place for anybody if she does not feel like the container of the relationship is enough for her anymore, or that it's fostering her growth, or that she feels that she has outgrown it and she needs to leave and she has cognitive dissonance and trying to stay in it to keep the peace for everybody. It doesn't keep the peace for everybody. It's okay to say goodbye, and it's okay to redefine what the family is, because a family is only broken when people have to break themselves in order to fit within it. Glennon Doyle.